We are now, Baruch Hashem, well into Selichot season. The most appropriate time for Selichot to be said, as Maran Shulchan Aruch writes in Siman Tavkuf Pe'alef, is Be'ashmoret HaBoker, which is the last part of the night, right before Alot HaShachar. Alot HaShachar now in New York is approximately 4:40 a.m., so a little bit before that is the most preferable time to say Selichot. However, the reason for that, by the way, is because the Shekhinah, Hashem's holy presence, is closest to the world at that time, and there's their most heavenly mercy filling the world at that time, making Selichot the most accepted at that time. However, even if a person can't say it at that time, there are other times during the day that are appropriate for saying Selichot as well. For instance, Chatzot HaLayla. Person wants to say from Chatzot of night, which is approximately a little bit before 1 a.m. now, and on, that's also fine. A person wants to say Selichot later in the morning, after Alot HaShachar, also okay. All day long, also okay. Not only that, Maran Zichron Bracha writes in Yechavedat and in Chazon Ovadia that the halacha is that even in the afternoon and evening, before Shki'ah, before Mincha, the halacha is that you are allowed to say Selichot at that time. There's only one time of the day that, according to the Mekubalim, is inappropriate for Selichot, and not only that, not only is it inappropriate, but saying Selichot at that time is actually detrimental and harmful, which is the first half of the night. From Shki'ah until Chatzot HaLayla, that first half of the night, the world is filled with din. The world is filled with heavenly judgment, and saying Selichot at that time can backfire and cause heavenly damage, so a person should abstain from doing that. Not only that, Maram Zakut, Rabbeinu Moshe Zakuta, one of the greatest poskim and Mekubalim of Italy, about 400 years ago, he writes that even if there's persons, let's say in a shul, persons in a Bet HaMidrash, and they're saying Selichot in the first half of the night, he says, don't answer the Selichot, don't answer the Ve'avors, says walk out. Says walk out, do not participate in the Selichot with them. There is an opinion that Maran Zichron Bracha brings down in Yechavedat, B'Shem Kama Acharonim, that with regards to heavenly mercy and judgment in the world, Chatzot has to do not with necessarily geographic location, it has to do with Eretz Yisrael. Nevertheless, it's very clear from Kol Gedolei Mekubalim that the halacha does not follow this. The Rabbeinu Yehuda Asad, the Ben Ish Chai, the Bechor Shur, and others, they say just like any other zmanim, it goes by where a person is right now. And therefore, just like Shabbat, right? Does it make sense to say that Shabbat ends based on when Shabbat ends in Eretz Yisrael? Of course not. All the zmanim, including the Kabbalistic ones, follow the zmanim where you are right now. So a person has to be careful. There is such a kula extended, Maran Zichron Bracha used to say, for people that need it for kiruv purposes. They're not going to get up early in the morning, and they're not going to wait until chatzot, and they're not going to say slichot at all, and they need chizuk, and they need kiruv, so you can rely on that opinion even though it's not the halacha. The only problem is there's a lot of people who adopt it. Kiruv mode is great, but at some point you have to graduate kiruv. You can't stay in kiruv for your whole life. It doesn't work that way. So you have to graduate. It's an interesting thing, and therefore, since there's so many times during the day, morning, after chatzot, afternoon, evening, before Shki'ah, there's so many times to say Selichot, it is inappropriate to latch onto Kiruv mode and rely on these poskim that don't really hold water according to halacha. Last thing for today, somebody asked me, person, let's say, forgot, he didn't say Selichot one day. He prayed Mincha ve'Arvit early, after Plag, before Shki'ah. It's still light outside, but he already prayed Arvit. He says, I forgot to say Selichot, whatever it is, now he finds a minyan. Can he participate in Selichot at this time? La halacha, it seems that since he already prayed Arvit, you already decided, the Chachamim gave us the power to turn it into night after Plag HaMincha. Since you already prayed Arvit, you turned it into night for yourself, the first half of the night, and therefore you'll no longer be able to recite Selichot for that day. You have to wait for the next day to recite Selichot at that point. Have a wonderful day.